Hello and welcome back to the Tin Barn. I'm Pragmatic Lee, and today's video is going to be another fabrication project. I recently just picked up a new machine, not for inside the tin barn by any means, but to use here at the house. I said several years ago that as long as I was could afford to pay somebody to cut my grass, I wouldn't cut it myself. But I've had a little change of heart. I'm fully retired now, and to be quite honest with you, I felt a little bit guilty sitting in here in the tin barn playing on my machines and paying somebody to run the lawnmower outside and cut the grass. So I made a little capital purchase the other day. Here's a little picture of it. This is the first Zero Turn Mower I've ever had. Actually, it's the first one I've ever attempted to operate. Matter of fact, I hadn't owned a lawnmower in probably 20 plus years. But in any case, I'm going to start cutting my own grass now. But as part of keeping the lawn cut and keeping it looking decent around here, there's a little bit more than just cutting grass. It involves spraying some Roundup. I got several outbuildings here, large driveway, a whole lot of I live out in the country, whole lot of contact with the asphalt road. So it requires some Roundup spraying. And I stopped by Harbor Freight last Sunday afternoon and after lunch and picked up this, what they call a spot sprayer. 15 gallon, 12 volt. But what I want to do in today's video is make a cart or a wagon for this to ride on. It's reasonably light, maybe weighs 10 pounds like it is, but you put 15 gallons of water in it and you've got, 120 pounds thereabouts. So this needs something it can ride on that I can pull behind the Zero Turn. Now, before you say, well, you need one hand to operate the sprayer, but you need two hands to operate the Zero Turn, we'll get to that in another video. Today, we're going to concentrate on just making the cart for this to ride on. It has threaded inserts in it, 8mm threaded inserts in the bottom of them, 4 of them. So we're going to build a frame out of some 2-inch angle iron. And why 2-inch angle iron? Because that's what I had a piece of. But we're going to build a frame out of that. And then we're going to use this truck out from under a Radio Flyer Town and Country wagon. This particular truck here, frame for the wheels, I suspect I've had it here in the tin barn for at least 20 years. The wagon was a piece of junk that was in a group of stuff I bought at an auction. I brought it home, took the front wheel truck out from under it and this back one, thinking that maybe one day I'll have a need for them. The box itself was just pure trash and not worth really rebuilding. So we're going to use that for the wheels. We'll add a tongue to it. So now let's move over to the other side of the tin barn, get set up on the welding table, get the frame laid out on the welding table, and put it together. I'm over here at the welding table now and got it laid out. This is the long ways. Of course, this is upside down now, but the tank itself will bolt in 2 holes I put here and 2 holes over here that'll be over here on this end. And then this is the frame itself. The truck will mount about center of this will be the axle for the wheels. Now, I was watching a video this morning. I don't know whether any of y'all watch the automotive channel, South Main Auto, but I was watching one of his videos this morning while I was having my cup of coffee out here in the tin barn, and he was fixing to weld up an exhaust pipe, and he made a comment that unless you're a weld.com, do not show your welding on Facebook, because the comments will be full of criticisms. I've never professed to be a welder, but there's not much that you can see welding anyhow. So I'm going to stop the camera for a minute, get this tacked up, then bring you back. All right, now that I've got the frame welded up, the main part of the frame, I need to make a quick decision on which end is going to be the front. I want this to be just a little bit tongue heavy. So I want the axle back of center. I'm going to go about a 1/2 inch. I'm going to call this the front right now. So let's measure. That's 18 1/2. Half of that would be 9 1/4. So I'm going to go 10 1/4. That'll put the wheels 1 inch behind center. This is going to be welded in place in here for the wheel truck to set on. So let's find this center. That's 3 1/2 inches. So I'll line those two chalk marks up, and of course clamp this in. Then I'll get my little square and square up this end. We'll weld that up. I'll bring you back when we get ready to drill some holes. I've got the piece of channel iron welded in now for the wheel truck here. Remember, that's 3 1/2 inches. I'm just going to mark 1 1/2 inches and just to find the center here, very lightly. Got a little bit of die chem on there. I'll take my straight edge. Overall width now is 15 inches, so 7 1/2 will be center. Now we need to determine the spacing on here. I would have thought that would have been a nominal value, but it's not, so we'll do the trick of putting our calipers, digital calipers in there, zeroing, and that's 5.431 between centers. 2.716. So if we set on that center mark and double check, we said 5.431. Oh, like I messed up, I need to zero out the calipers again. Now 5 point. As a matter of fact, I did mess up on marking them because I didn't re-zero the calipers. 2.716. That should be the inside marks. 5.431. And that's dead on the money. All right, those should be laid out for drilling on the drill press. Now we'll flip it over, and we need to lay out our holes for the tank. Let me go get those measurements right quick. All right, just remembered 2 more holes I needed to mark off, and these do face to the front, but these brace arms, I got it setting right dead over the hole. And I'm just going to mark this with a Sharpie because I don't really have a way of clamping this to hold it stout enough to punch that. Okay, now I can go get my measurements for the tank. All right, the lengthwise on the tank is 19 7/8, and this whole frame is 22 inches. So basically an inch longer on each end, 2 inches longer than the overall. So let's come in 1 inch on the front. All right. This is 15, so 7.5. Now, the spacing, what we'll call on the y-axis, is 6.78. Half of that is 3.438. Six and 7/8. Now, to get the holes on the other end, I'm going to simply take my square. Got to get it. I got a very bright sun on here today, so I have to get this where I can see it good. The sun's playing havoc on everything I'm trying to do. And that is dead on 6 and 7/8 there. So now what I need to do is find 19 and 7/8. All right, I think we're got our holes laid out for our tank. Got the holes laid out for our wheel truck. One more piece need to get set up to for the tongue. The tongue is going to mount off the front and be a piece of 3/4 inch pipe, or maybe 1/2 inch. Let me see what I got. All right, what I'm going to be using for the tongue is a piece of 3/4 inch pipe. This is a piece of galvanized. I'll probably look around and see if I got a piece of black pipe. If not, once I determine the necessary length, I'll probably put this in the kiln and burn this galvanized off. Same thing. This was a round flange, of course, that I cut 2 sides off, and I've marked that. These holes will be to drill with the drill press. I'm sorry, with the hand drill. But I've marked those, and we obviously won't cut the length of this until we get the tank on there and see how long we need it. So let's move into the drill press now and start start drilling a few holes. All right, I'm going to start out drilling everything with this center drill, and I'm not fooling myself that these precision layouts here, that everything is going to match, simply because this is rough iron, rough steel, and I was having to make measurements longer than my precision tools. So we'll start with this and drill start all of our holes first. Nice thing about having those center punch holes in there that we put in over on the welding table. This center drill will line up with them. Everything I'm going to be using on here will be 1/4-20 screws or bolts. But again, I'm not going to fool myself into believing everything is going to be that good a match. So I'm going to start with a 2 sizes up, a 9/32 bit, and that will give me just a little bit of playroom. My center drill had been as sharp as this 9/32 is, I wouldn't have put quite so much strain or quite so much effort into center drilling those holes. But we got it. Alright, I'm going to round up some bolts, nuts. We'll go back over to the welding table and see how well everything matches. Okay, back over here at the welding table now, and I got everything assembled. The wheel truck, all the 4 bolt holes for it lined up fine, no problem at all. I'll be honest with you, I had to elongate one of the holes for the tank. Other than that, it fit fine. Now I've got this piece of pipe, and let me swing around a little bit so you can see. All right, before anybody gets on me about drilling and welding galvanized, this is no longer galvanized. It was a piece of galvanized pipe, but I put it in the kiln, or in the forge, and burned all the galvanized off of it. And I promise you, I was way upwind from it and did not get any of the fumes. But it had shot flames out of both ends and off the top, so the galvanized inside and out is burned off. But this is going to be our tongue, and I've got these 2 pieces I'm going to put on the end of the tongue. They were the ends of this brace that was on an old brush hog that I salvaged the steel off of. These were, of course, on the end and actually bent at about a 30-degree angle, but I heated them up in the forge as well and flattened that out. Now these are a bit bulky for this, so we're going to go over there to the mill and take some of this off of here, just to slimline it a little bit. Also, on here, I'm going to disassemble this completely. I'm going to put some little stays on here for the hose. Now, as you can see, the ends of the tank are set up so that you can wind the hose up on that, but everything has got to work out perfect for the hose to stay there. As you can see, a little bit of slack in it and it'll come off. So I'm going to put these 4 of these on just to keep the hose from falling off, and it'll be a quick hose storage when I'm just moving from one location to the other. And then other than that, I think we're done. Oh, one thing I did want to show you. The hitch on the Zero Turn is 11 inches from the ground. I've got this leveled now, and some couple jacks are there just to keep it sitting in place. I've got it level with the table, not necessarily level with the earth, but with the table. And that is 11 1/8 inches to the top of that, which is what this will set on in the hitch. So, love it when a plan comes together. These are the 2 pieces I showed that I cut off the end of that brace off the old bush hog. I scribed a line. This is 2 inches wide. Our tongue pipe is 1 inch. So I come in a 1/2 inch on each side. And then down here at this point, I just came in the same amount on this side of the hole as was on the outside of the hole. I've got the holes lined up regardless of the 2 pieces lining up. As a matter of fact, one of them is about probably 1/8 of an inch longer than the other one, but the 2 holes are lined up. Now scribe that line across here, and to get that line, to get that angle set, I just found a parallel that was a little bit less than the height of that line, and just kept tapping this back and forth until I got the line, scribed line, parallel with this parallel. So I've got a 1/2 inch roughing end mill in here now, and let's see, let's get her. I'm going to start at about 600 RPM, and we'll touch off. And I'm not sure how much I can take at one time, so we're going to start out with about 30 thousandths. I'm sure I can do much more than that. I think I will up that RPM just a little bit. Well, it's not a little bit. It goes from 600 to 1100. All right, timeout. I think I'm going to try a different bit. That one's kind of dull. All right, I think I got a butter end mill in there now. Now I think what I'm going to do is try a little different style or different direction in my cut. I think I'll work off this end. Doing it this way, I should be able to get the full depth at one time. All right, I'm going to get some coolant set up, and then we're going to town. All right, I'm stepping over 200 thousandths at the time. I'm sorry, 100 thousandths at the time. All right, that got this side cut. While I got it clamped together, I'll turn it over and off camera do the other side the same way. All right, I got the two tongue pieces back in the, or hitch pieces, back in the mill vise now. Remember, I'm keeping everything lined up with the hole lined up. Regardless of the ends, I'm keeping the hole. I've got two spots marked out now for the where the bolts are going to be. I'll get a start with the center drill, and that's 1.7 inches in between. I'm going to use 3/8 bolts in this. Now you know what? I don't need that much. 1/4 inch bolts will be fine for that. So let me trade out these drills right quick and grab a 1/4 inch. All right, this one I can drill all the way through. I got clearance under here. Here I've got a jack. I'm going to zero out the DRO right there. These are 3/8 inch. So I'm going to go down about 3/4. Don't want to get into my jack. Now let's come back to our first hole and we can drill all the way through. I shouldn't have but just a little bit left to go here. So I'm going to take the jack out and not put a whole lot of pressure. All right, that's our two hitch pieces. All right, I'm going to put the pipe in and we'll drill matching holes in the pipe. Now to find the center, I'm not going to go to all the trouble to get the center finder out. I'm just going to bump that ever so slightly there, zero out the Y, come to the other side, just touch on the DRO, Y 1/2. Bring back to 0, and that will be plenty close enough. All right, we're going to put a drill here, then we're going to come over 1.7 inches. Not sure if I zeroed there. Yes, I zeroed the DRO. Okay, 1.7. And I didn't really leave myself enough room. That's going to bump the parallel right there. Let me get that started. Should have let it hang out just a little bit more. But I think we can take a punch and move that parallel back just a little bit. Alright, I need to make a quick measurement again. Well, let's see, I'm thinking right along here would be good. I need to plan for a stand as well. And just some arbitrary distance right here. Alright, I'm going to pull that parallel on out. And for this one, I think for the stand, I believe I do want a 3/8 there. Okay, I think we're ready to put the tongue together now. And I apologize if the camera got knocked out of the way, but what I did was put 2 holes that should match our hitch pieces. Then I moved over just an arbitrary amount and put a 3/8 inch hole there where we'll come up with some kind of a stand. Okay, I changed my mind again. I drilled 1/4 inch holes in this. I went back and re-drilled them now with a 3/8. Not because I didn't think the 1/4 inch was going to be strong enough. I looked in my 1/4 inch bolt selection and I didn't have anything the correct length. Had plenty in 3/8, but nothing in 1/4. I'm trying to do this with what I've got available here in the 10 barn right now. So I'm going to put a little thread lock. These are about a 1/4 inch longer than I'd like, but the next size down would only get me about a 1/2 nut on there, and nobody likes 1/2 nut. Alright, so there's our hitch, our tongue and hitch. A little bit long here. I'm going over to the bandsaw right quick and I'll cut these off. Now this other hole that I put in there, all I'm going to do is put a piece of 3/8 inch rod down here with a hole in it to put a snap ring or snap pin, and then also one where I can lift it up. Alright, I'm going back over to the welding bench now and going to take the unit apart and weld on those hose keepers that I showed you earlier, and then I think we'll be ready to do the recap. Well, as I think you can probably tell, I put some paint on, gave it a good coat of primer, let that dry overnight, and then went down the road about 25 miles, 50 miles round trip to Agri Supply and picked up this can of Cub Cadet Yellow and painted this part. So I think it's time we put it together and mount the tank on. First thing we'll do is mount the wheel truck underneath. Well, there you have it, folks. I'm going to bring the mower around here and we're going to give this a quick test. Well, there it is, hooked up to the zero turn. Let's take it for a quick spin, but before we do, we got one more piece to add. Hope you've enjoyed this little fabrication job out here in the tin barn. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video.